What's good, y'all? It's Wealthy XP here. We all know Rockstar makes some of the most realistic games ever created, but their hand-to-hand combat is completely outdated, and this video is outlining that exact thing, right? We're going to be showing some examples of some games that just completely outclass Rockstar in every single way imaginable.
You start off with some pretty basic moves, like pressing the attack button multiple times is going to perform different combos, and you can grapple enemies for follow-up attacks or to simply throw them into the ground. When an enemy is about to land a hit, they'll glow red for a split second, and you can counter that attack if you're quick enough.
Yeah, so that's another thing that's really lacking in GTA 5's combat mechanics. We don't have any real counter system. You know, now we have a very loose counter system, which is extremely limited and very situational, right? But in this game, and games like Sleeping Dogs and some of the other games I'm going to show, there's a real counter system. You know, like you actually counter people. You actually have ways to react, right? It's not just an animation-based combat. Rockstar Games combat is animation focused, not actually hand-to-hand focused. It's all about the animations. It's not about player control, right? They prioritize realistic animations over player control. Once you punch, you're locked in. You're watching an animation, not controlling a fight. That's the reality of a Rockstar game. And that's the problem with their combat.
There's different enemy types, some of which are resistant to being grappled, or even those who can block your combos. Then you've got these big fat heavy dudes who just ignore your inputs entirely, and can even pick you up like you're a sack of potatoes. So just from the get-go,
Yeah, so I think it would definitely be cool to fight people who can pick you up like a sack of potatoes, people who can throw you around, stuff like that. But I don't think they should just automatically overpower you because they're bigger. It should just be more of a struggle to do certain things to them. So if you're fighting someone who's like fat, let's say they're a 600-pound life contestant type of person, you know what I mean? Then it should be hard to slam them. It should be hard to pick them up. It should be hard to do certain things. If you try to wrestle them, they should be able to push you off really easily or something like that. You know what I mean? If you try to slam someone that's way bigger than you, it's a harder thing to do, you know? So they should have depth in the combat, even when it comes to the size of these actual individual people. I know that sounds like that's asking for a lot, but come on. We've been waiting, what, 13 years for this game, and we're not getting another one for the next 30, 40 years, 20, 30 years. So come on. Like, I think it's reasonable to ask for the combat to be kind of in-depth.
You can start unlocking new moves and abilities, which turns away from a lowly thug into more or less Bruce Lee. These are always taught to the player in the Kung Fu school in a more or less completely threat-free environment, so you can really get the hang of how all of these work and feel, and then from that point on, it's added to your arsenal. So you can start doing things like tackling enemies into the ground. You can now stun enemies with your basic combos, leaving them dazed and open for another follow-up attack as well. Probably the best moves, though, are the ones where you can snap someone's leg or arm. And this is not only brutal as fuck, watching, you know, Way mercilessly turn someone's arms 90 degrees in a direction that it's definitely not supposed to go, but it also has the benefit of scaring the absolute piss out of nearby enemies, who understandably recoil in shock at seeing one of their buddies turned into human origami. Even just having those basic combos upgraded to do more damage and to stun enemies lends itself massively to the combat, and it really makes it feel like more than just using the same few attacks over and over. Then filling up the face meter increases your damage output even more and lets you do a bunch of special moves like holding someone down on the ground and beating them over and over, or you can even do instant melee weapon takedowns as well. What I've always loved too is how at the end of particularly brutal fights, Wei is going to look sufficiently beaten and bloody, legitimately looking like he just lost a fight with a brick wall. It just kind of adds to the whole gritty nature of the setting, and despite being covered in more wounds than someone who fell face first into a lawnmower, it ironically makes you feel like more of a badass. As if Wei is like superhuman and able to shrug off all of these crippling wounds. Yeah, must be all those pork buns.
Oh, you like that one. I know it.
But what is easily the best part of the combat here are these environmental takedowns, where Wei uses the environment to instantly incapacitate some of these attacking assholes. And some of these are absolutely fucking hilarious and so needlessly over the top. Like throwing a dude into an electrical box, or shoving someone's face into a furnace like it's that final fight at the end of Commando. You can throw people into aquariums.
It makes the world feel more dynamic, right? It doesn't just feel like, okay, you're in a flat environment that you can't even interact with, right? If I slam someone, I should be able to grab someone and run with them, and if they should have to do like a struggle with me to stop me from doing what I'm about to do. I should be able to run with them and throw them towards a wall or something and set up for like a kick or something crazy where I can interact with the environment, and the combat is more dynamic than it is in GTA 5 and even in RDR 2, because the combat is just not that dynamic compared to some of these other games, right? RDR 2 did improve on the combat significantly from GTA 5, but it still suffers from a lot of the same things, and the defense is basically block, dodge, which is very limited, and counter, which is contextual, right? And it's like, compared to other games that I'm about to show, you have high dodges, you have low dodges, you have parry timing, structure management, directional awareness, right? Rockstar gives almost no defensive decision making in their games. This matters because good combat games are built on defensiveness. Like, they're built on their defense, not only their offense. They're built mainly on their defense, and then offense has to be good as well. But it's easier to make offensive combat than it is to make defensive combat good. It takes a lot of paying attention and a lot of precision to make in-depth defensive mechanics, right? And that's what Rockstar's completely failed to do.
Like onto a stack of swordfish heads.
That's gotta hurt!
Or how about taking someone out with poison damage by throwing them face first into a piss-soaked urinal?
Okay, so that's enough for Sleeping Dogs. I want to show a couple other games, so we're gonna move on. But Sleeping Dogs is great. It has a lot better combat than GTA 5, and it was made a lot before GTA 5. But there's games that are even made more currently in modern games that are still outclassing Rockstar. Rockstar is still being outclassed today, and we're gonna get to that. But the next game I want to show is Absolver, okay? And this game is made by the same devs who made Sifu, right? Which is another game we're about to talk about. But Absolver is great.
Combat is your art, and mastering the medium is essential to becoming an Absolver. Upon arriving in Adal, all prospects have a core combat style and an initial combat deck. On their path to absolution, prospects will learn new possibilities and mix them to create their own unique method of fighting. One of 3 combat styles are chosen at the beginning of your journey, but other styles exist in the world of Absolver. Each combat style improves specific character attributes and comes with its own unique special ability. Balanced and powerful, with the Forsaken style, prospects can parry enemy attacks, briefly stunning their opponent. Strong and resistant.
So yeah, I would love to see some of this stuff incorporated into a game like GTA 6. I want to see combat styles, fighting styles. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be fictional fighting styles like an Absolver. It could be like real fighting styles, certain MMA styles, right? We could have all these different things in the game, and it would just extend things so much. You could have certain boxing fighting styles. Maybe you have a wrestling type of style. You know what I mean? All of these things. Maybe you got some Taekwondo fighting style, you know? Like, these are the types of things that we should be seeing in GTA 6. I want to see in-depth mechanics, right? Because Rockstar's games, they heavily rely on automated animations, right? They heavily rely on these animations. Contextual counters that trigger automatically, right? It's not like you are inputting this. It's like the counters kind of trigger on their own. The characters kind of magnetize towards each other in this weird type of way. And this is why in the game, you actually have these stupid ass glitches where like you can do this spam animation where you're literally like doing a spam punch. It's so stupid. Like, the animation is so ridiculous. It's like you're literally running continuously and you're spamming a punch. That's how glitchy the combat is. It's trash in GTA 5. It's absolutely garbage. And that's why you're able to just run and punch. Like, what is that? What type of animation is that, bro? Come on, that's how you know the combat had absolutely no depth. And the finishing animations trigger without precise player input. So if I want to do an animation, right, or I want to do a certain finisher in GTA, it's gonna do it for me automatically. I don't have any control of how that happens, what I'm doing, what I want to do. Like I said, if you want to do an environmental finisher, you can't do that. No, it's very limited, right? And you gotta remember, Sleeping Dogs, which has all of these things, was made like in the exact same type of time frame, right? Like, so come on, you guys, there's not really an excuse for this. It's just Rockstar's just behind in this way. I know we love Rockstar, but they're behind in this way. We have to address this, right? We can't just ignore it.
Without being stunned or pushed back, and regain lost health if the counterattack is successful. The students of the Windfall combat style will have greater dexterity and will. They can avoid enemy attacks, leaving the enemies open to a powerful counter. The combat deck is the list of attacks that a prospect can use when fighting. These attacks are divided between 4 different stances, which represent the prospect's orientation relative to their target. In each stance, different attacks are available. Some attacks will naturally flow from one stance to another. Other attacks will stay in the same stance. Regardless, each move will always chain fluidly with one another, effortlessly shifting from stance to stance without interruption.
See, and that's another thing that's so good about games like Absolver, right? Because you actually build your own combos in this game. You can choose your own fighting style and build your own combos out completely. Like, you can completely build the combos. That's something I want to see in GTA 6. I want you to be able to build your combos from scratch. In Absolver, every attack is manually chosen. Direction matters, timing matters, positioning matters, right? Rockstar feels assisted. Absolver feels controlled. There's a difference there, you guys. There's a big difference. There's just no combat depth when it comes to Rockstar games. There's no skill ceiling. Rockstar combat is too easy to master quickly. After 10 to 15 minutes, you've basically learned everything. Like, let's be real, you guys. Let's be real. There's no advanced mechanics like attack chains, custom combos, directional attacks, guard breaks, right? Stagger management, frame advantages. You don't have any frame advantages in a Rockstar game. There's not any frame data. You know what I mean? I mean, there is technically some level of frame data, but it's just glitched out. Like, it's not real frame data. You know, it's accidental frame data and glitch manipulation and shit like that. The real frame data in a Rockstar game is just animation based, because it's all, you can't cancel any animation. And in these other games, you can cancel animations. Like, you can actually cancel an attack. You can do certain things. You can react. It's not just, oh, you're in this animation and now you're at the whims of whatever it does for you. No, that's not how it works, right? So, and like I said, the skill ceiling is way too low in a Rockstar game. 10 to 15 minutes, you know everything. If you compare this to like Sifu or Absolver, players are still, like, they're still improving even after like 50 hours, 100 hours. They're still improving, right? So I would love to see that level of depth.
The combat deck is fully customizable, allowing one to define their way of fighting and become unpredictable. In each of the 4 stances, prospects will choose a sequence of attacks and an alternative attack. Alternative attacks can be used at any time to break a sequence and bring the prospect in another stance. Both sequences and alternative attacks can be chained fluidly without interruption. To give more possibilities, new attacks can be unlocked by fighting against any kind of opponent, from the newest prospect to the strongest Absolver.
This game is basically like For Honor, but hand to hand. If you wanted to explain it really quickly, it's like For Honor, but hand to hand. And you have stances, you have these certain things, and I think that could actually be implemented properly in a Rockstar game, because people always talk about how, you know, in a Rockstar game, you can't do all of this because, oh, when you're running around, the mechanics are like, when you're trying to do a combo and you're pressing this button and you're running around in the open world, it's going to press that button to do a combo instead of what you actually want to press. But that's not true. You can easily avoid that by having these stance mechanics. These stance mechanics allow for you to enter into a certain stance and enter into a certain frame, and when you're going into that engagement, and only those things will be accessible to you when you're in that stance or when you're in that frame of engagement, and that will stop you from basically just doing these things randomly when you're out in the open world, right? This is very controllable, you guys. I know people think that Rockstar Games has a big control issue, and to some degree they do, but not when it comes to the fighting mechanics, okay? No. This has been shown that this can be done.
One input is dedicated to light but fast attacks, and another one is used for heavy strikes. Performing different sequences results in attack strings with various properties, such as dealing more damage or pushing away an opponent. As you progress through the game, you may learn new attacks to help you manage enemies in more difficult situations. 2 different gauges are displayed above each enemy's head. The first one is the structure bar. It fills up every time your attack reaches an enemy, even if they defend against it. It does, however, deplete over time. When you fill an enemy's structure bar all the way up, they enter a structure broken state, which means that they are defenseless. When you're close enough to them, press dedicated input combination and finish them off with a flashy takedown. After that, this enemy will no longer bother you. Bear in mind that you also have your own structure bar to worry about. It fills up when you get hit, be it directly or in guard. If it breaks, you'll be unable to act for a short while, leaving you wide open to additional damage. That said, you can protect your structure by performing the right defensive actions, which in turn can damage the enemy's structure.
Right, so this is what I mean when I say that Rockstar games, they don't have any guard breaks or anything really in depth when it comes to defensive mechanics. We should see things like this, right? A similar implementation into a GTA 6 type game, right? Into GTA 6 exactly, I should say. And in games like this, which is Sifu, in games like this, man, the enemy combat is so good. Like the enemy AI, oh man, they're amazing. In Rockstar games, the enemies wait their turn to attack. You know what I mean? It's like they're waiting. Like, what are you waiting for? Hit me, bro. Hit me, bro. You know what I mean? Like that meme, like, yeah, bro. They attack slowly. They rarely pressure the players. It just feels very unrealistic. It feels very unrealistic in Rockstar games. It's non-threatening and it's not engaging, right? And if we compare it to Sifu, the AI, they attack aggressively, they pressure you, you know, they're interrupting you consistently. Like, all of these things are happening at once. You don't have time to just sit there like you're a little baby on your hands waiting. No, you actually have to be reacting to every single thing that's happening. It feels very engaging, the combat. I want the combat in GTA 6 to feel engaging as well, you guys.
The other gauge is a classic health bar. Any successful attack will decrease it, and when it drops down to 0, the enemy gets automatically knocked out. Note that it doesn't decrease when the opponent is defending themselves. As opposed to structure, health cannot be recovered, and as it drops, it also curbs the structure's recovery. Obviously, you too get a health bar. Every time you defeat an opponent, it goes up a bit. Run out of juice, and you will die.
And listen, you guys, this is Slow Clap. This is the studio that made this game and made Absolver. Listen, this is a small, like, indie studio compared to Rockstar. Rockstar has billions of dollars at their disposal from via Take-Two and via their own resources that they've made from GTA 5, right? So there's no excuse for why they can't develop just as immersive combat as this. There's no reason or excuse why they can't. Any excuse you're making is just, you're just accepting worse for no reason. You're choosing to accept something that's clearly worse for no reason, right? Rockstar creates some of the most immersive worlds in gaming, but when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, their mechanics are a decade behind smaller studios like Slow Clap, right? Their mechanics are a decade behind. We can all see this. There's no reason to be in denial about it. That's just what it is, you know? And I think that GTA 6 really needs to improve upon a lot of these things if we want the game to be at the level that we're all hoping it's going to be at, right? Come later this year. So let me know what you guys think about everything that was mentioned in this video. If you enjoyed the video, like the video. This is not where I dominate and just give my opinion. I want you guys to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think should be different, or you think there's other games that Rockstar should take some inspiration from when it comes to the mechanics in GTA 6. What do you guys think I could have explained better here? Tell me all of these things, right? And like I said, if you enjoyed the video, like the video. Link to the Discord will be in the pinned comment down below. And I'm building a community. If you guys want to ask me any questions, you want to talk to me, I'm actively in the Discord. I'm always there. So if you guys want to ask me anything, go to the Discord. We're building a community there, you guys, right? And this channel is based on gaming and anime, so that is going to be the things that we're discussing mainly here. You know, we might discuss other things too on the channel, just maybe more normal things, but typically that's what the focus is going to be, right? So it's Wealthy XP here. Tuning out.